Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of China 101. We skipped one episode last week due to some personal matters, but we are back again this week. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, click the like, and denounce the YouTube algorithm. Obviously, any kinds of comments is welcome. Any questions is welcome, and we will try our best to address the question. We will try our best to address questions below the videos, as long as the question is related to today's topic. Now, recently a lot of Western nations has started to indict or deport or deport communist Chinese communist spies or people that have close ties with the with Chinese Communist government, while claiming they are victims. Usually, for people like this have been known in the Chinese community, and for the most part, we call them Wei Lei. However, a Weilei is really similar to what the West call a hypocrite. However, a hypocrite is a very general term. In the West, something simple like if a boyfriend promised a girlfriend to take the girlfriend out on Valentine's Day, but on Valentine's Day, the boyfriend made out some excuse and didn't and ended up not taking out the girlfriend to dinner. The girlfriend can call the boyfriend a hypocrite. But when we are talking about Wei Lei are usually hypocrites, but they are pretty much only used for people who strongly supports the CCP while they are already under the protection of Western democracy. One of the most well-known Wei Lei who currently resides in the United States is Bob Fu, and recently we see some protests on American street that demonstrate against Bob Fu and claiming that he's the running dog of the Chinese Communist Party. Now let's talk about some personal details of Bob Fu. His full name is actually Fu Xiqiu. He was born in China in the late 60s, and he obtained his undergrad degrees from China's People's University in the early 90s. He claimed that he participated in the students' protest on June 4, 1989, which was later brutally cracked down by the Chinese Communist Party. But surprisingly, he did not seek refugees outside of China after the brutal crackdown. Instead, he somehow obtained a position at Beijing School of Administration, which is well known inside China for training the next generation of CCP officials. Almost 8 years after Tiananmen Square massacre, he and his wife came to the United States under political asylums in 1996. Shortly after his arrival, he founded China Aid, which is a non-profit Christian organization. Its mission is to help Chinese dissidents escape from China and acquire asylum in the United States. His nonprofit gained much popularity after being heavily involved in the blind lawyer Chen Guangsheng asylum case. Lawyer Chen was a well-known human rights advocate in China for helping the handicapped and disabled people. And he escaped to the Chinese U.S. embassy while he was detained by the Chinese Communist Party in 2012. The U.S. and China made a deal. As a result, lawyer Chen was allowed to come to the United States. After Chen came to the United States, Bob Fu used his company to bring public attention to Chen's persecution when he was in China, and encourage his Christian followers to donate to China Aid. However, lawyer Chen never received any money from China Aid donation, and Bob Fu claimed he was heavily involved in helping Chen escape from China, but Bob could never prove his claim or provide any details. In 2013, Bob Fu was accused by Professor Jermel A. Cohen of New York University of installing Trojan horse spyware on iPad, which would allow him to monitor the device communication secretly. This device was then given to lawyer Chen, the person we mentioned in the paragraph above. The blind lawyer, the NYU and Professor Cohen later retracted their allegations, stating that somehow NYU's technicians has mistaken the common Skype application with the malicious spyware. The proposition seems improbable given the highly dissimilarity of the nature between the spyware and Skype, and the fact that this mistake was allegedly made by qualified and professional technicians. Unfortunately, this pattern is all too familiar to the dissidents community whose inadvertent whistleblower retracted allegation after threats were covertly issued by the CCP. Because many of dissidents, even though these dissidents had arrived in the United States, they still have many close friends, relatives who still live in China, and the Chinese Communist Party can easily threaten their parents or their uncles, aunts, brothers, or sisters, and this way, the Chinese Communist Party can silence these dissidents to making bad claims about the CCP. The most recent example is Dr. Yan Limeng, when she went on Fox News and said that her mother was actually arrested by the CCP 4 times because she was trying to expose the truth of the origin of COVID-19. The lawyer Chen is definitely much more well known right now because he recently just spoken at the 2020 RNC and he endorsed President Trump's policy towards the Chinese Communist Party. People such as Bob Fu is just one person of a vast network of CCP spies who follow and track important American civilians such as Professor Cohen or Chinese citizens or high-profile Chinese dissidents such as Lawyer Chen. Even when political refugees escape China, they are never safe. The CCP always wanted to know where they are and what they have done to damage the image of the party. But most importantly, tracking these political dissidents helped the CCP to bribe them, but most of the time silence them by threatening their relatives and friends. We want to remind our friends in the West that when you come across non-profit Chinese organizations, and if they claim they want to spread freedom and democracy and ask for your donation, all you need to do is ask them 2 questions. Number 1, do you denounce the Chinese Communist Party and agree that they are one of the biggest source of evil on the planet? Number 2, do you actually support the freedom fighters in Hong Kong, or have you ever donated to the freedom fighters? If without hesitation their answers are yes to the questions above, then these are legitimate organizations. But if they immediately start to find excuses after you ask the question, and then try their best to tell you why CCP should be allowed to govern China, or why protesters in Hong Kong are wrong, then it's obvious these Chinese non-profit organization, their true master is actually the Chinese Communist Party. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my presentation for today regarding what is a Weilei and how to identify them. As you can see, unfortunately, we do not have any guests for tonight's program, but this is another excuse for any of you who are tuning in right now to leave comments down below or questions down below so we can address them the next time we have a video. And this is as of now, this is the end of our presentation tonight. Tune in once again next week at the same time, and we will see you later. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.